Okay, so everything seems very good. So today we are going to have the ECG with us, and today we are really going to look at almost everything about the ECG, that whatever we have learned till now. And by now you have already got the very basic concept about the ECG. So today our plan is two particular things. Number one is we are again going to revise the very basic of the ECG, but in a very quick way. And the main purpose of our class today is to look at almost all the diseases which is diagnosed with ECG, in which the ECG helps us to diagnose the disease. So we are going to look for almost all of them together. So today our class will be going a little faster than the normal. And since you have already seen almost all the ECGs, then it will be easy for you as well. Right? Okay, so let us begin from the very beginning of our ECG. And you already know that ECG shows us what activity of the heart. Right? So electrocardiography shows us the electrical activity of the heart. Keep in mind, most of the time electrical activity is going to correlate with the mechanical activity, but not always. Because I was telling you what this is, and this disease we call it pulseless electrical activity. You know what this is?
Yes,
sir. Sometimes this disease we also call it the electrical mechanical dissociation. Let me give you some idea what this is. What happens to this patient is the heart has already stopped working, but when we will do the ECG, we will find that still some waves are present there. So by looking at ECG, we feel that heart is still getting the electrical activity, but there is no any mechanical activity. So this is we call it pulseless electrical activity. So in the very beginning of this class, I want you to understand that ECG can correlate with the mechanical activity. ECG cannot show us 100% mechanical activity. It is not possible at all. We have got some other methods. We have got the echocardiography and other things to see the mechanical activity of the heart. Right? Okay, now once we know about the ECG, then keep in mind that this ECG machine was discovered a long back. Einthoven was the main person to start talking about this particular machine. And now we know that ECG machine comes in many different forms, but here you can see that these have got two very important things with it, which we need to know. Number one, different electrodes, and number two is the paper of the ECG. So these two things are one where we doctors should be very careful. And how does this ECG machine regulate and measure the electrical current? That is not none of our business, right? So we are going to look at the ECG mainly for two things: how the electrodes are going to work, how they receive the electric current, how they are going to write the electric current in the leads, and then how the papers we are going to read. Now keep in mind, today whatever we are going to learn is going to be only for 12 lead standard ECG. Right? We are not going to see the very vague form of the ECG, but we are going to see that the standard ECG. And the standard ECG have got how many leads? 12 leads. So when we look at this machine, what we can see that this machine is having 4 electrodes which we place in the limbs. And since we have got only 4 limbs, so we have only 4 limb electrodes. And we have got 6, you can see this is the electrodes, 6 chest electrodes we place above the chest. Sometimes this chest electrode we also call it pericardial or precardial electrodes. Right? So how many limb electrodes we have got? 4. How many chest electrodes? 6. Altogether we have got 10 electrodes with us. Now, whenever we talk about the electrodes, you have to remember these electrodes, when they are working alone, they are always going to behave as positive electrode. When they work alone, they are going to behave as positive electrode. But when they work in group, then this thing has already decided in the machine that which one is going to work as negative and which one is going to work as positive. So what you have to remember that if they are working alone, they are always positive. And when they are working in group, then we have to find out which one is negative and which one is positive. Good thing is, all the chest electrodes are going to work alone. It means all of them they are going to be a positive or negative? Positive. And the center of our heart, the center of our body is going to behave as negative. Clear to you? Yes. Okay. Now remember, whenever these electrodes are going to record the current, then we have to keep two things in our mind. Number one, what is the axis of the electrode? And number two, what is the direction of the current? What is the direction of the current and what is the axis of the electrode? So, for example, let's say I am giving you one electrode, let's say the name is A, And if it's working alone, you tell me, is it going to behave positive or negative? Positive. And in this particular instance, your body is going to behave as negative. And the axis of any electrode always goes from negative to positive. So this is going to be the axis from negative to positive. Right? So let's say that we have got these chest electrodes. You tell me the chest electrodes are example of working alone or working in group? Or working alone. So when we place these chest electrodes from V1 to V6, they are going to work as a positive one, and the center of our heart is going to work as negative one. So if I will use, suppose that this is the one axis for my V1, then the axis is going to originate from my center of my heart and going toward the V1. Are you getting the idea? Yes. Because the axis goes from which current to which pole to which pole? Negative to positive. Right? Now let's go further about how these electrodes they behave. Now, out of these 4 limb electrodes, the one electrode that we put in our right leg is going to behave as neutral. Now you must be thinking, why we need a neutral electrode? And there is one reason for that. When we are measuring the current in our limbs, they are very far from your heart. So the amplitude of the current they receive is very, very less. So maybe they will not be able to show this thing in the paper. So, from the very beginning, what did the doctors did? They used the right leg electrode as neutral, and this neutral electrode is going to do increase the current amplitude. It simply is called as augmentation. What do we call it? Augmentation. It means the current what we are receiving in our paper is augmented by this particular electrode, and the neutral electrode is relation with right foot. So right leg we are going to use the neutral one, and the job of this neutral one is to augment the current. Right? Okay, now when we will have this 10 electrodes, these 10 electrodes will give rise to altogether 12 leads. So lead is nothing but the lead is going to be the recording by this electrode for the current which was due to the result of our heart activity. Right? Okay, so now let's see. For example, if I am talking about 4 limb electrodes, you tell me. So in the right arm we are going to use the right electrode, the right arm electrode. In the left arm we will be using the left arm electrode. And there is the right foot electrode and the left. You tell me, out of these 4, which one is going to be as neutral one? Right. What is the use of this right one? Augment the current. This is a very important function, very, very important. So now I am going to just change it to the neutral one. Right, and we are not going to use it. And just to make it easy, what I am going to do, I am going to put this left foot in the center. So this is the left leg or left foot electrode. So now we have got 3 electrodes. Right? We have got 3 electrodes in the limb which are going to show us the current. Now, you tell me the principle what I told you. When these electrodes will work alone, are they going to behave positive or negative? Positive. It means when these electrodes are going to work alone, they are going to behave as positive, positive, and positive. And the center of the body is going to behave as negative. So your center of body is going to be negative. And again, I told you another principle. Whenever we think about the axis of electrode, the axis of electrode is always going to go from where to where? Negative to positive. Right? It's going to go from negative to positive. So, if I have to say that the leads produced by these electrodes, if I have to put their axis together, then I can say that from the center of your body, one axis will go to the left arm, right? From the center of the body to the left arm, and this one we are going to be calling as AVL. By the way, let me tell you, whenever you see this letter A, it means this particularly has been augmented. By the way, which electrode is the one to augment it? Right. The neutral electrode is the one to augment it. Right? So A. And I am giving you one hint here. Whenever you see this letter V, now you convert the V into U. And remember, U as unipolar. Right? You are going to remember them as what? Unipolar. Just an easy way for you to remember this. So now you can see that A means augmented, means this particular electrode is augmented. V means it is unipolar, means it is working alone. And L means it is going to work where? Left arm. So from the center of your body, it is going to the left arm. In the same way, I know you are very much talented, so you tell me what will be the name of this one? AVR. Tell me what is the meaning of A? V is standing for and R for right arm. In the same way, if it goes down to the foot, what are we going to call it? AVL. You people tell me, these are the example of unipolar lead or bipolar lead? Unipolar. Whenever you see this letter V, it is going to stand for unipolar. Just a quick method to remember. Clear to you? Awesome. So, the limb electrodes, when they will be working alone, they will be giving rise to three unipolar leads, AVR, AVL, and AVF. At the same time, if I put again these three electrodes here, suppose that this is the right arm, this is the left arm, and this is the foot. So now I'm not going to write it left foot, I'm simply going to call it foot. So remember that these electrodes are designed in such a way that they also can behave as bipolar. Right? When they are behaving as unipolar, we just have found it. But I am telling you that they also can behave as what? Bipolar. And when they behave bipolar, for example, when they are working in combination, this right arm and this left arm, when they are working in combination, the ECG machine has been designed in such a way that this right arm will behave as negative and the left arm will behave as what? Positive. The right arm will behave as negative and the left arm is going to behave as positive. Okay, you people tell me, for this particular electrode, which is the going from the right arm to the left arm, you tell me what will be the axis? Right arm to the left, because it has to go from negative to positive. Clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is going to be the first lead. And this one has been given one name, what do you call it? Lead 1. Right? So lead 1 goes from the right arm to the left arm. And this is already fixed in the ECG machine. That this one, when they are going to work in combination, it will be working as negative and this will be working as positive. Now in the same way, when the right arm and the foot works together, right arm and the foot, then the right arm is going to behave as negative and the foot is going to behave as what? Positive. So now you put everyone in the direction. Right foot to the right arm to the foot, and this one is going to be called as lead 2. Okay, this one is going to be called as lead 2. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's go for the left side. When the left arm and the foot is going to work together, the left arm is going to behave as negative, and the foot one is going to behave as positive. It is already designed. This is not ours. This machine has been already designed in such a way that when these two will be working together, this will behave as negative and this will behave as positive. So now you tell me what is the direction? Left arm. From the left arm to the foot. So this one has been given the name lead 3. Right? So we call it lead 3. So once again let me repeat. What have we learned just now? Suppose that this is the direction of the axis. So this tip is going to be the direction. And I'm going to point out and you tell me which one I'm talking about. Going from the center of my body toward my left arm. AVL. To my right arm, AVL. And to the foot, AVL. Clear to you? From the right arm to the left arm, 1. From the right arm to the foot, 2. And from the left arm to the foot, 3. Clear to you? Okay. And these are all the example of chest leads or the limb leads. Limb leads. So now what we've learned? We have got 4 limb electrodes. Out of 4, one is neutral. Which one is neutral? Right. And these 4 electrodes, one is neutral, and out of these 4, 3 is the one to produce the leads. And these 3 will work alone as well as they can work in group. When they are going to work alone, they are going to produce the unipolar leads. We call them AVR, AVL, AVF, and they work in group, bipolar, and we call them lead 1, 2, and 3. And the thing for you people to remember here is that these limb electrodes are going to look at our heart in this plane, right? Not in this plane. They are not going to look at our heart in this plane. They are going to look at our heart in the frontal plane. They are here, and they are going to look at our heart in the frontal plane. Are you getting the idea? Okay. Now, here I can say that we have got all together 4 limb electrodes, and this 4 limb electrode is responsible for giving rise to 6 limb leads. You tell me, out of the 6 limb leads, how many are unipolar? 3 unipolars. And how many are bipolar? 3 bipolar. Give me the name of the unipolars. AVL and what? AVL. Perfect. And the 3 bipolar? 1, 2, and 3. Okay, you tell me, all these limb leads, how they look at our heart? At which plane? Frontal plane. We are going to look at our heart through the frontal plane. Frontal plane. This is the way how they look at our heart through the frontal plane. Any confusion now? Okay, now this particular triangle just now we learned is called as Einthoven Triangle. What do you call this triangle? Einthoven Triangle. And now we are going to do a very important job. We are going to put these three unipolar legs and these three bipolar legs together. We are going to form one hexaxial system. So when I am bringing these things together, how it will look? First of all, I am going to bring down one. This lid, can you guess which lid I am talking about right now? Going vertically down? AVF. So this is going to be AVF. The second lid I am going to put here is going to go from the right arm to the left arm. Can you guess which one I am talking about? Lead 1. Right? So I am going to put the unipolars and bipolars together. I am going to make one hexagonal system. So I put one AVF in the y-axis, I put lead 1 in the x-axis. Any concerns now? Okay. Now let's see what will happen further. If I am going to put more leads here, then one will be coming down like this, or will be like this one. And this one is going from the right arm to the foot. So what do you call this one? Lead 2. And this one is going from your foot to the right. Your body. So the direction is going to the opposite direction, and we are going to call it AV-up. Right? We are going to call it AV-up. In the same way, if I am going to put the other two here, then they are going to look like this one. So this particular one is going to go from the foot to the left arm. So can you guess what we are going to call it? AV-L. And this one is going to go from the left arm to your foot. So with this direction, what is this one? Lead 3. So all the unipolar and all the bipolar, we have put them in one particular point here, from one origin. And now we have got something called as hexagonal system. What do we call this triangle? Now we have got something called hexagonal system. And the thing for you to remember here is that the angle between all of them is going to be how much? 30 degrees. So now we have got 20 degree, and in this way we keep on going further. And whenever we go clockwise, we use the positive sign. And if you want to go anti-clockwise, this side you are going to use negative. Right? Now, since I have given you your hexagonal system, you can imagine that your hexagonal system is just like this. Here. Right? So you can imagine that I am just standing here and all these leaves are going to make my heart in this way. If I am going to show you that exactly where is the axis of your heart, then your axis of the heart lies somewhere between plus 20 all the way to plus 100. So this is the area where your heart lies. This is the area of your heart, like this. So your heart lies between 1 and AVF, more specifically we are going to say plus 20 degree to how much? Plus 100 degree. So this is the normal axis of your heart. So if I am standing here and if all these leads are looking at the frontal view, my heart is like this. From plus 20 to how much? Plus 100. This is the normal axis. But sometimes you know that your heart axis is going to be deviated. If it goes to the right side, we call it right axis deviation. If it goes to the left side, what do we call it? Left axis deviation. Clear to you? Okay, so right axis and the left axis. And this is everything about your limb electrodes and the limb blades. Now let us go for the chest electrodes. Right? Can you give me the example of chest electrodes? V1 to V6. And as soon as you find the letter V, what is the meaning? They are going to behave as alone or they will work in group? Alone. And if they are working alone, they will behave as positive or negative? Positive. And the negative will be? Center of your heart or center of your body. Right? And what will be the axis of the current coming from the center of your body to the electrodes? Right? And this V1 to V6, let me just remove this one here and then we can see more clearly. So, can I erase this one now?
Yes,
Give me the example of bipolar limb leads.
1, 2,
3. And the unipolar limb leads? Okay, now let's go further. Now, suppose that this is your heart here, a very bad looking heart. And now you have got your electrodes above them. So for example, let's say this electrode is here, something called as B1. Just one example, let's say. Then, if they are working alone, as soon as you find that the letter V is there, then you have to think that they are working alone. And if they are working alone, they are going to behave as positive. And the center of the body is going to behave as negative. And then the axis of these electrodes are going to go from the negative to positive. In this way, if I put all the chest electrodes here, then the axis will be formed something like this. V4, V5 as well as V6. Just one idea, right? So this is the different axes of our chest electrodes, and this will give rise to the leads. We call them chest leads. There is a difference, a huge difference. When we talk about the chest electrodes are not going to look at our heart in a frontal plane. Rather, they are going to look at our heart in the horizontal, not in the frontal plane, but in the horizontal plane, in the transverse. It means they are looking at your heart by cross-sectioning it. Are you getting an idea? They are working in such a way that it seems that the heart has been dissected, the cross-section, and then they are looking at this film. So now we can say that we have got two leads here, two different kind of plane is there. So this plane, you tell me, this plane is for by which one? Limb or the chest one? Limb. And this plane is by chest. Your heart is located in between. And that is why we need so many electrodes, because we need to see different area of the heart very clearly. That's why we need to see at the heart from many different angles. If we had only frontal, then we will miss lots of things. If we had only the cross-sectional, we will miss lots of things. That's why we need both different planes here, right? So altogether we are going to get 12 leads. From the V1 to V6, all of them they are going to be example unipolar or bipolar? Unipolar. And there are 3 bipolar from the chest limb leads and 3 unipolar from the limb leads. So overall, if I put it here, I can say that your 10 electrodes will give rise to how many leads? 12 leads. Out of these 12 leads, we have got the 6 chest leads and how many limb leads? 6 limb leads. And now you can say that out of the 6 chest leads, all of them are what? 6 unipolar. But out of 6 limb leads, how many are unipolar? 3 unipolar. And how many bipolar? 3 bipolar. So in this way, in your exam, if somebody asks you the question, how many unipolar leads we have got? 9. In the 12th standard ECG, we have got 9 unipolar. And the unipolar are always going to go from V1, V2, so the letter V will be there. So the chest one is going to be V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6, and the unipolar in the limb is going to be A, V, R, A, V, L, and which one? A, V, L. And these are going to be 1, 2, and 3. Did you tell me again? The chest leads are going to look at your heart through which plane? And the limb leads are going to look at your heart from which plane? Horizontal plane. Is this concept clear to all of you? Yes. Okay, so this is the first step of our class today to understand the different electrodes and leads. Now let's look at the photo here. The same thing, whatever I have written here. All of us, let's go here. Okay, so this is the ECG machine. Can you guess which electrodes are this one? Limb electrodes, and which electrodes are this one? Chest electrodes. 4 limb electrodes and 6 chest electrodes. Which limb electrode is going to behave as neutral? Right. Perfect. So here you can see we have got the right arm, left arm, right leg and left leg, but the right leg is going to behave as neutral. And why we need this electrode? And that's why whichever unipolar we will find in the limb, they are going to all begin with the letter A, because they are augmented. And this is how we have put the V1 to V6. So now the positioning of the chest lead is very important for us. So what can you see? In the 4th intercostal space, when you are hitting your intercostal space, you can begin with the supraesternal knots. When you go down, you can feel one prominence here. Or if you try that, you can feel this prominence, and we call it Lewis angle of Lewis. And when you come to the side, this particular intercostal space is going to be which one? Second. Then you go one more further, which one? Third. Then you go one more further, fourth. So first V1 will be placed here in the 4th intercostal space in the right sternal border. The same intercostal space in the left side, which one we are going to place? V2. Right? So we have placed the V1 here, then V2, and then we are not going to place V3. Keep in mind. We are going to place the V4. We'll go one more intercostal space down, the 5th one, and then we'll go to the mid-clavicular line. So here will be somewhere for the V4. And after pressing V4, we'll come back for the V3. And V3 will be at the midpoint between the V2 and the V4. So it will be somewhere here. This is going to be V3. So keep in mind. After V2, we don't place V3. After V2, what we place? V4. And then in between the V2 and V4, we are going to place the V3. So this is the V4 here. Now the V5 and V6 will be at the same level. I'm not saying same intercostal space, I'm saying at the same level. One will be at the anterior axillary line, V5, and another will be at the mid axis V6. So in this way, now I can say that we have got the V1, V2, V4, V3, V5, and V6. And you tell me all these chest vectors, how they are looking at our heart? Alright, and they are all unipolar or bipolar? Unipolar. If they are unipolar, they are positive or negative? Clear to you? Very good. Now we can see that this is how we have got the frontal plane. You can see that this is the frontal plane and this is the which triangle we call it? And so you remember that negative positive, this is what all the leads. So which plane we are seeing here? Frontal plane. And this is the hexagonal system. Can you tell me what is the normal axis of your heart?
That's
right, so this is the normal axis. If your heart is into this, then we are going to say that your heart has a normal axis. Okay, and this is the transverse, this is the horizontal plane here, and you can see that all the V1, V2, V3, how they are looking at your heart. This is how they are looking at your heart. Okay, so now you can see that we have got the frontal plane here, and then we have got the horizontal plane here, and this is how we can see the different area of the heart through these 12 plates created by the 10 electrodes. Now, the next part of our class today is to learn about this ECG paper. So let's go for the ECG paper here. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the ECG paper, we have to remember that in your ECG machine, the paper has one fixed speed. The ECG paper always moves at a speed of 25 millimeter per second. This is the fixed speed. The paper is keep on moving. Whether the electrode, whether the lead will be drawn in the paper or not, doesn't matter, but the paper will keep on moving out. At what speed? 25 millimeters per second. Now, after learning the speed, you have learned that the ECG paper have got one particular design. It has got so many horizontal lines and so many vertical lines. And we divide them into something called as large square and the small square. Right? So suppose that I am drawing one large square here, and there are so many. You can see that in the people there are so many large squares. And one large square is going to have 5 small squares in the length and 5 small squares in the height. Right? So we have got here, I can draw here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So this particular small one, we are going to call it small square here. And so this is one small square. And this thing is going to be what? Large square. Remember, the small square, the distance, the length is going to be 1 millimeter. And the height is going to be what? 1 millimeter. They are square, so height and width are going to be same. So 1 millimeter in the height and 1 millimeter in the width. And when this ECG paper will be moving out, by the way, what is the speed of this ECG paper? 25 meters per second. When they are coming out, when the ECG machine will record the current in this paper, they are going to always use this x-axis, this particular x-axis for the time, and they are going to use this y-axis, this one, the height of this paper. They are going to use the height of the paper as the y-axis as well. For the voltage, the amplitude will give you the idea about the voltage, and the length will give you the idea about the time. Right? The amplitude will give you the idea about the voltage, and the length will give you the idea about the time. So x-axis is for the time, and y-axis is for the voltage. Okay, now let's go back here. I told you that your ECG paper have got a fixed speed. What is that? 25 millimeter per second. It means 25 millimeter will be moved in 1 second. 25 millimeters will be moved in 1 second. So if I do some mathematics here, I know when I begin mathematics, your brain starts working in a very funny way. But anyway, I'm doing very simple mathematics here. So if I have to use very simple mathematics, I can say that 1 millimeter here is equal to 1 by 25 seconds. And then this will come 0.04 seconds. So it means 1 millimeter, that means one small square is equal to how much? 0.04 seconds. Right? 0.04 seconds, and this is all dependent because the speed of the paper is going to be 25 millimeter per second. Now let's go further. If one small square is equal to 0.04 seconds, can you give me the calculation? one large square will be equal to how much? 0.26. We did not do any nuclear mathematics here. We simply multiplied 0.24 with the 5. And we got how much? 0.66. Right? By the way, you tell me, for the time, which axis we are looking at? X-axis or Y-axis? X-axis. Right? And this ECG machine has been inputted in such a way that the height of 1 millimeter will be equal to 0.1 millivolt. The height of 1 millimeter will be equal to 0.5 millivolt. Right? So in the y-axis, if there is one height of 1 millimeter, it will be equal to how much? 0.1 millivolt. It has been already inputted here. So 0.1 millivolts. So remember, x-axis for time, y-axis for the voltage. And one small square is equal to 0.1 millivolt, and one small square in the length is going to be equal to how much? 0.04 seconds. So this one I want all to remember. For the time, in the x-axis, in the length, one small square is equal to 0.04 seconds, and one large square is equal to 0.2 seconds. Clear to you? Okay, so this is the concept about your ECG paper. And once we learn this, then we are going to look at the physiology of your heart. Very simple physiology of heart. Before I begin to give you some ECG, I want you to learn some very simple physiology of your heart. Okay, so now let's go for some very basic physiology here. How many bipolar legs do you have got? How many unipolars? 9. Very good. So 3 bipolars and 9 unipolars. 6 chest legs and 3 limb nodes. Clear?